Hey there, guys and girls, it's me. I just wanted to shoot a video really quick and kind of touch on some topics that have come up in conversation over the past, oh, that's interesting, over the past day or so. I've had some amazing conversations with 3 or 4 of the most incredible women that I've had the pleasure of meeting in a while. So they're 3 amazing ladies. A couple of them have YouTube channels. A couple of them don't. I've interacted with them through messages on my channel and my social media. And it's been the pleasure of my life to have had the opportunity to chat with these ladies and form these wonderful friendships, and maybe even have a couple TTC buddies and just build this community and family of women supporting one another. So that being said, the topic that kept popping up through social media and in one of the conversations that I had was about the aftermath of this TTC journey for women in my age group. So I am 46 years old, and of course, as I said before, I have married a younger man who doesn't have children, and so we want to build our family, so we've opted to embark on this TTC journey. Well, you get caught up with all of the doctor's appointments and blood works and labs and testing and logistics and travel and planning and hope and praying about the want of having a child, that we forget about what happens after you're successful. So in my case, the after you're successful, aside from having an amazing little creature that you have given life to and building onto your family, the opposite side of that coin is I'm gonna be the 50-something mom at the elementary school meetings. I'm going to be the 50-something-year-old mom at the recitals and at the extracurriculum activities, sports or cheerleading or whatever that looks like. I'm going to be the 50-something-year-old mom when that child gets to junior high school age. Now, of course, I plan on homeschooling, but there are so many resources for engagement and socialization with homeschooling programs now that, again, these things are going to be a reality. I was scrolling through my social media earlier this morning and came across a commentary by a lady in one of my groups, one of my over 40, over 50 women in my age group, social media for TTC and raising babies. And she and her husband were out, and they have their little child with them out at dinner, and a lady comes up to them and says, "Oh man, this must be so wonderful for you guys to have your grandchild out with you for dinner." Now, I'm not going to go into her reaction or any of the feedback she got off of it, but that just nailed the coffin for me with that one. After yesterday's conversations and things that have been going through my mind for the past couple days, that's a reality. And I had not thought about that. I had always taken for granted that I feel the way I feel. I feel great, and I'm in great health, and I have relatively good energy. I mean, my doctor told me I had the body of a worn-out teenager, and I've seen some teenagers these days. That's a blessing right there, because I've seen how some of them are right about now. Anyway, and so I didn't think about the fact that I parented my first block of children, who are now adults, when I was in my 20s. And so the mental constructs of society are prepared for that, and they're familiar with that, and so they expect that, and that's normal in most first world societies. So they expect to see it, and there's no conversation really to be had about it. What is becoming the norm now, but not quite there, is this emergence of 40-something and 50-something-year-old parents that are having families or adding to their families, and the way society views that, the biases and the judgment and the disregard for our value and our contributions to our children at these ages. And I laugh about it and say, yeah, I'm going to be the grandma at the graduation, but it's not funny. It's not laughable. It's a reality. And I can't wait for the day that it becomes norm. Maybe by the time, you know, my husband and I have our child and that child is at graduation level, maybe there'll be a host of other women out there, other families out there who will be in the same category. Maybe we'll have more peer experiences than right now I'm seeing. Because right now, the landscape looks bleak, at least in my area specifically, for people in our age range having children right now. Right now, people in our age range, their children are essentially the ages of my children. They're young adults, starting their lives as young adults. And so our peers in their 40s and 50s are getting ready for grandkids and retirement and doing a different thing. And that works for them, just like this works for us. But right now we have no supports. I've been sifting around and fishing around for those supports, and I'm sure I will come up with them because I'm resource driven. But the reality is, it's kind of painful to think that there's a strong possibility that this could be a very lonely journey for us on the one hand, and on the other hand, very fulfilling. Because with our ages comes the ages of our siblings and our parents. So we already find ourselves in a capsulized environment whereby there are no sibling caregivers. So there's no, hey, watch your little brother for me while we do this, or watch your little sister for me while we do that. There's no calling your sister or your brother on the phone and saying, hey, you know, we need a mental health break with baby or our toddler. Can you watch little Junior or little Mary? Because our siblings are much like a lot of society whose children are grown. They're ready to get rid of them. And that's awful for me to even think about, because we live in a society where there's supposed to be some unspoken age that you can dispose of your children. The magic grown-up fairy is supposed to sprinkle responsibility dust and grown-up dust on them, and then at a certain magic age, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, all of a sudden your parenting job is done and over with. And our siblings are ready to be footloose and fancy-free and do the things that they've wanted to do that they feel will bring their lives fulfillment. So the whole having our siblings care after and be caregivers on any level for our new child is not going to happen. Then you have the reality of our parents and their ages. And we are, much like other people in our age group, looking at long-term perpetual care possibilities for our parents. We're fortunate to have some grandparents left, but our parents are caring for their parents, and we're looking at down the line, while this child, in this child's early lifetime, having to provide for perpetual care of our parents. So the reality for me is kind of smug. I say shit like, you know, we'll be changing 2 sets of diapers. We'll be changing toddler diapers and geriatrics diapers. And there's no roadmap for that for us. There's definitely not going to be very many times where grandma and grandpa are capable of saying, hey, bring the kids over and drop them off for the weekend, drop them off for the week. And not to say that that's what we as parents want to do. We want to be 100% full-time involved, but we need those respites. You know, responsible adult parents of any age need those emotional and relationship building respites that the support of family members bring to the table. Well, our table kind of empty right now. And so that dawned on me, and it was sobering and surreal, because my children are essentially out of the house, and their lives won't be in alignment with wanting to do the sibling things with a brand new baby. They're adults looking into their own adult lives. And then I look at the fact that my children, my 3 eldest children, have this bond, this unspeakable, unbreakable bond that happens between siblings, between brothers. And yes, they fight and they get on each other's nerves, and they say they hate each other one minute and then they loving each other the next minute, and they do their natural evolutionary paces that builds, fortifies, strengthens, and harbors respect for one another. And it's working magically for them. This new child, or these new children that my husband and I will have, won't have that with the older children. And at our age, we may be lucky if we get one. You know, there's no guarantee to this whole IVF thing. There are no promises to this IVF process. And there's no time limit for how long it may take. So we're optimistic as fuck. And we're saying this is going to work first shot, one and done, we're good. But who knows? It may take us another year or even 2, God forbid. And we're even further down the spectrum of new parents. And then the possibility of that child being an only child is a real reality. And so then there's no sibling interaction. There's no sibling bond built there. And that concerns me greatly, because I see this wonderful, complex relationship built between my eldest sons and the dynamics that govern them, that comes from being raised in a nuclear family. And it pains me and concerns me to think that subsequent children that we have may not have that bond, that they may not have those familial supports. And so that topic came up kind of in jest yesterday in conversation, and of course again through my social media. And for as much as I've tried to put it on the back burner and say, you know, just let time take care of it, everything sorts itself out, and I believe that, it still keeps reoccurring. There's a reason it reoccurs, and I think it's because it's time for me and other parents in my age group going through similar journeys to really look it in the face and have a hardline conversation with ourselves, with our partners, with our families, with any children we may have, and start to build communities of similarly suited families for the purposes of not feeling isolated, for the purposes of support, for the purposes of, you know, generational success. And yeah, that came to mind. And it's interesting because the women I spoke with yesterday, they run the gamut with ages, but I still got all of them by 5 to 10 years in age, and that makes a big old difference. And I'm so happy for their journeys, and I'm so happy that the dynamics that my husband and I are having to now address, they don't have to address in and of themselves. Maybe in some obscure way, but not directly. I live on a farm, y'all, and I'm looking at a car just pulling down my driveway. Hope they're not coming for eggs. I don't have any. No, they're not coming for eggs. Okay. Anyway, so I am glad that the women I've spoken with have different realities, but each one of them empathized with where I stood with my IVF journey and what's to come after my IVF journey when it comes to parenting as more mature adults. Now, there's a host of wonderful shit that comes with being a mature adult person parenting children. There's a big old difference between parenting at 23 and parenting at 43. There's a host of life experiences that you bring to the table. There's a wealth of patience and endurance that comes with this beautiful age. Understanding and temperance come with these ages. Valuing the next generation is so different at this age. And, you know, you've learned from your mistakes. You've learned best practices and worst practices with raising children. And that comes with having multiple children anyway. You just kind of learn as you go. But this age is so enduring to have children. This age is the capstone and the culmination of 4 decades of trial and error and working it out and survival tactics and success and failures and how to rise above and weather storms, and to be able to impart all of that into another life, into another generation from its infancy through its adulthood is more than magical. It's just the additional magic dust on top of the already magical parenting process. And so I'm not absolutely disheartened by the thought of being possibly the oldest mother at the playgroups. I'm not necessarily disheartened at the prospect of someone looking at me one day or looking at my husband one day in our child's early life and associating us with their grandparents. Now, I can't say that tact and decorum are going to lead my conversations in those instances. I can't say that tact and decorum are going to be my shield and armor, because the way my mouth is set up, I might cuss you smooth the hell out. But again, I'll cross those bridges when I get to them. But this was really on my mind and on my spirit. And yeah, there's no resolution. There's no straightforward answer to this. I would like to say this is how we're going to address the age difference and parenting. But I don't have any answers. And I guess that makes me a real intended parent then, because even though I've done this before, I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have a plan. I just kind of went with my gut and trusted my instincts. And that's what I'll do with this baby. But I'll be doing it with gray hair and wrinkles and crow's feet. And God, please don't send liver spots. Oh, Jesus, don't send liver spots. But I'll be doing it differently. I'll be doing it about 40 pounds heavier than I was doing it before. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this magical process, but I do have my angst about it. And I'm sure this will not be the last video I do on the topic of parenting as a mature adult. Yes, notice I keep saying mature adult. I hate those fucking terms like geriatrics, you know, maternity or advanced maternal age. I hate that shit. That's so biased and discriminatory. Yeah, so, you know, mature adult, that makes a big old difference, because you got some real immature adults out here that are in my age group that, bless their heart, they did parent too. But I digress. The point is, the topic of being the oldest set of parents or the oldest mom at the play dates or at the extracurricular activities has come up, and it's been a recurring theme over the past day or two. And I just wanted to address it and get it out there. And I'll be doing a couple more videos about other topics that came up in these wonderful conversations with these dynamic women. I may do a few more today. I may not. Y'all know how I roll with my videos. But they will get done. And oh yeah, so I've modified my travel dates a little bit. So this is kind of IVF related. I've modified my travel dates just a teensy weensy bit. So I'll be leaving on September 2nd versus August 27th. So it kind of buys me a few little days to actually pack and plan and organize and pick up the rest of my supplements, which I have not done. I have been a lazy cow with regard to my own personal packing. There's so many other things going on. I haven't gotten my nails done. My feet look like, whoo, Jesus. And just the whole maintenance thing has to happen sometime between now and the 1st. But I did modify my travel dates based on medications and cycle lengths and blah, blah, blah. So it buys me a few more days to kind of prepare. My husband will be coming down about 12 or 13 days after I get there. And my mother-in-law is coming on the journey with me. She'll meet me down there a few days before my husband gets there. She's only going to stay a week. She'll take some time off of work to do it. So I'm really grateful for that level of support. And I hope that continues at least for the next 10 years so the baby can at least get through elementary school before our help runs out. But all that to say, you know, right now there's nothing really exciting or new on the IVF front itself. But I just wanted to touch bases with you guys with this video about being the grandma in the play group and stuff. Okay, so that's all I had to say. Be good to yourselves. Take your Geritol. Do some exercises. Don't put on 40 pounds like I did. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it, man. But take your Geritol. Be good to yourselves. Live your best life. And I'll see you back here again soon. Love you. Love me. Bye.